poker is a serious game.
Before he was a legend, Willie Nelson was a forgotten child in a forgotten town. Abbott, Texas, 1933. The Great Depression wasn't just a headline, it was survival. Willie Hugh Nelson came into the world when money was worthless and hope was rationed. His parents, gone. Left him and his sister Bobby behind while they chased jobs that didn't exist. He was raised by his grandparents, old, worn, and barely holding it together themselves. No toys, no future, just dirt roads and empty promises. But they gave him one thing that would change everything: a guitar. At 6, that guitar wasn't a gift, it was a lifeline, a weapon, a secret key to escape a world that had no interest in saving him. By 7, he was writing his own songs, and not little nursery rhymes, real songs, about loneliness, heartbreak, pain, things most kids didn't even have words for, but Willie felt in his bones. By 9, he was performing in smoky bars and grimy Texas honky-tonks. Little Willie standing on beer-soaked floors next to his sister on piano, playing to drunk strangers who couldn't believe what they were hearing. This wasn't a child prodigy story. This was a survival story. While other kids were playing tag, Willie was singing to stay alive. No one came to save him, so he built himself out of rhythm, pain, and pure, stubborn fire. They told him he'd never make it, that his voice was wrong, that he'd never fit in. But the part they didn't know, he never wanted to fit in. The 1950s were brutal. Willie wasn't some overnight sensation. He got chewed up and spit out by the music industry more times than anyone could count. He bounced from town to town: Fort Worth, Portland, Nashville, always chasing a dream that seemed one step out of reach. He slept in cars, sold Bibles door to door, DJ'd at dead-end radio stations, even tried selling vacuum cleaners just to keep his guitar out of a pawn shop. He was poor, he was ignored, but worst of all, he was underestimated. People in Nashville laughed at him, told him he couldn't sing, said his phrasing was off, that he sounded weird. But the truth? Willie's sound wasn't broken. It was just honest. Too honest for the polished, fake smile world of commercial country music. Still, they didn't want his voice. Fine. But they couldn't ignore his songs. He started writing hits for others, massive ones. Crazy for Patsy Cline. Nightlife. Funny how time slips away. Every time a star sang one of his songs, it was like Willie whispering from the shadows, "I'm still here. I'm better than you think, and you'll remember my name." But even with success as a songwriter, Willie was broke. Flat broke. He sold the rights to Family Bible for just $50. A song that would go on to make millions. Every win felt like a loss. Every open door slammed shut just as fast. He wasn't just chasing success anymore. He was running from failure. And yet, through it all, he never quit. Because deep down, he knew something they didn't. His voice might not be normal, but it was unforgettable. And one day, the world wouldn't just hear it. They'd worship it. He walked away from Nashville, middle fingers raised, and created a revolution. By the early 70s, Willie Nelson had had enough. Enough of the fake smiles, enough of the polished boots and manufactured radio hits, enough of pretending to be someone he wasn't, just to please executives who'd never set foot in a honky-tonk. He was done. So what did he do? He disappeared from the system and went back to Texas. But this wasn't retreat. This was rebellion. And what came next would flip the country music world upside down. Willie lit the match on what would become known as outlaw country, a gritty, unfiltered, unapologetic movement that spit in the face of the industry and said, "We don't need you. You need us." With albums like Shotgun Willie and Red-Headed Stranger, he threw out the rule book, and fans ate it up. Critics said Red-Headed Stranger was too raw, too weird, too quiet. But when it dropped, it sold millions and introduced the world to Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, a haunting ballad that felt like it was sung from the grave. Willie proved something dangerous. You don't need to sound like everyone else to be legendary. You just need to sound like yourself. That album didn't just make him a star. It made him a leader, a movement, a living middle finger to the machine that tried to silence him. You can spot him from across a field, the braids, the bandana, the battered guitar. But what you see, that's not just style, it's armor. Willie Nelson wasn't manufactured. He was carved out of hard times, heartbreak, and rebellion. And the look, the hair, the bandana, the old guitar named Trigger, that wasn't branding. That was survival. Trigger wasn't just a guitar, it was part of him. And scarred, scratched, and worn from decades on the road, it became a symbol. Willie didn't play music. He bled it. But what truly made him iconic wasn't his image. It was his fearless voice outside the songs. While other celebrities stayed quiet, Willie spoke up for legal weed, back when it could still get you locked up. For animal rights, long before it was trendy. For farmers when the rest of the country forgot they existed. He wasn't just singing ballads, he was fighting battles. In 1985, alongside Neil Young and John Mellencamp, he co-founded Farm Aid, a benefit concert that's raised over $60 million to keep family farms alive. He didn't do it for press. He did it because he never forgot where he came from. Willie Nelson is more than a musician. He's a symbol of freedom, of truth, of standing up when everyone else sits down. He didn't just change country music, so he changed what it meant to be an artist. He didn't just play country. He tore down every wall between genres and invited everyone in. Willie Nelson's guitar didn't just pick country strings. It plucked at the roots of jazz, blues, rock, hip-hop, you name it. Long before crossover was a buzzword, Willie was dropping guest spots on albums that made purists choke. Imagine the Outlaw King sharing a microphone with Ray Charles on one track, then trading verses with Snoop Dogg on the next, two worlds colliding in perfect harmony. He jammed with Dolly Parton on sweet duets, swapped lyrics with Merle Haggard in smoky honky-tonks, and even formed the supergroup The Highwaymen with Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Waylon Jennings. 4 legends, 1 stage, 0 compromise. Each collaboration wasn't a gimmick, it was a statement. Music is boundless. Willie didn't ask permission, he rewrote the rulebook. And every time his warm, weathered voice met another icon's, the result was electric, unexpected, and unforgettable. He conquered Nashville, then he conquered Hollywood. No script could box him in. By the late 70s, Willie Nelson wasn't just a record-breaking troubadour. He was Hollywood's favorite country outlaw. He slipped into the role of himself, and somehow made that a performance. In The Electric Horseman, he stood toe-to-toe with Robert Redford, weaving music into the plot like smoke through the desert air. Years later, he'd charm families in Starlight, reveal his comedic chops in The Dukes of Hazzard, and drop a wink and nod cameo in Zoolander 2 that had audiences roaring. None of these were vanity projects. Willie brought authenticity to every scene. No stage directions needed. His laid-back drawl, that braided hair, and the slow strum on his battered guitar became shorthand for genuine, unfiltered truth. Whether playing a cowboy philosopher or a quirky grandfather, he proved there's no box big enough to hold a legend. Every film credit whispered the same message. Willie does it his way, or not at all. At 92, Willie Nelson isn't just telling stories, he's handing down lessons. Willie Nelson's life reads like an epic novel, chapters brimming with triumph and tragedy, rebellion and redemption. He showed us that a raspy voice can become an anthem, that a battered guitar can carry the weight of generations, and that standing up for what you believe in never goes out of style. Through every twist, broken marriages, financial ruin, the loss of his son, battles with the IRS, he never lost his spark. Instead, he turned pain into poetry and hardship into harmony. And now, in this rare moment of reflection, he's pulled back the curtain on one of his most private friendships. John Denver may have sung of mountain high and valley low, but Willie reminded us that those landscapes live inside us all. Their unspoken bond, two artists walking parallel paths of integrity, becomes a secret handshake between souls who refuse to sell out. When Willie confesses he was crushed by Denver's sudden passing, it's more than a tribute. It's a testament to the power of honest connection, the kind that transcends genre, fame, and time. Think about it, two men from two worlds linked by a shared pulse. Willie's words today aren't just about nostalgia, they're a call to remember what truly matters: authenticity, friendship, and purpose. He's saying, loud and clear, that success means nothing if you lose sight of who you are. That real courage is speaking your truth, even when the world tries to silence you. And that sometimes the most profound music happens offstage, in whispered conversations and quiet moments of understanding. Different roads, same horizon. Those 7 words aren't just poetic, they're a roadmap. They invite us to find the common ground beneath our differences, and to honor the unseen bonds that shape our stories. In a world fixated on clickbait and sound bites, Willie's reflection is a reminder to slow down and listen to the voices that resonate with honesty, whether they're singing in stadiums or sharing a private backstage truth. So, as the curtain falls on this chapter of Willie Nelson's saga, remember, his legacy isn't measured in awards or record sales. It's felt in the way his music stirs something deep inside us, in the way his journey inspires us to stand tall when life tries to knock us down. His story and his confession about John Denver are proof that the most powerful songs are the ones we live. If Willie's journey moved you, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon, because when legends speak, the echoes last a lifetime, and you won't want to miss a single verse of what comes next.